Hello, everybody, and welcome to Theology 101. Today we'll be going over the seventh and final sign of Jesus from the Gospel of John. This sign is so important that we will be spending multiple videos going over it. What makes this miracle so important? It is because this miracle reveals both Jesus' humanity and his divinity. We are going to see his humanity through his love for a friend, and we will see his divinity with his power over death. Now, this miracle is not the first time Jesus brought someone dead back to life. In the Gospel of Mark, Jesus raised Jairus' daughter back to life. And then in the Gospel of Luke, we see a funeral procession of a widow's son. And while this funeral procession is happening, Jesus raises him back to life. But the difference between these two cases and what Jesus is about to do with Lazarus is that those two cases were deaths that happened recently. Not enough time passed for their bodies to decay. But in the case of Lazarus, Jesus arrives 4 days later. And by raising Lazarus back to life 4 days later, Jesus would dispel all conspiracy theories that somehow Jesus just resuscitated Lazarus temporarily. According to Jewish tradition, after a person dies, his or her spirit hovers around for a couple of days before it leaves. Jesus purposely waits before he raises Lazarus back to life to make sure it's clear to everyone witnessing this miracle that Lazarus was truly dead before Jesus does this miracle. Now we are introduced to Lazarus and his two sisters, Mary and Martha. Now you might recognize these names because there are multiple stories where Jesus interacts with this family. In fact, the Apostle John records this. It was Mary who anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was ill. And we see how much Jesus loves Lazarus based on how Lazarus' sister addresses him when sending a message to Jesus. They write, "Lord, he whom you love is ill." Notice how short this message is. They know that Jesus would know immediately who they're referring to. The word love that is used here is not the Greek word agape, which refers to God's love or unconditional love. It's the Greek word phileo, which refers to brotherly love. It is where Philadelphia, referring to brotherly love, gets its name. So how would Jesus respond to the news that his good friend, someone whom he loves as a brother, is sick and about to die? So when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Jesus waits 2 days before he travels to see him? What? If you heard that your close friend was sick and dying, wouldn't you go immediately to see him? Wouldn't you get on the first flight to arrive by their bedside? I mean, Jesus has the power to heal, so he can actually do something if he arrives on time. So why would he wait 2 days before leaving to see him? In fact, this is exactly what Martha was thinking when Jesus finally arrives. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." This is also what Mary was thinking. So why did Jesus wait? I'm sure all of us would think this, right? The reason why Jesus waited is seen in John chapter 11, verse 4. But when Jesus heard it, he said, "This illness does not lead to death. It is for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it." Now, this response is very similar to what Jesus said previously when he was about to heal the blind man. Like blindness, Lazarus' illness is for the purpose of the glory of God. It was an opportunity for Jesus to reveal who he really was and for people to see God's glory. But you might be wondering, how is this love? Love would save a friend from death. Love would save friends from losing a brother, right? But like parents who let their babies fall to experience momentary pain for the bigger picture of learning how to walk, so Jesus is going to let his friends suffer momentarily for the bigger picture of God's glory. Lazarus wants to be healed. Mary and Martha want their brother to be healed. But what Mary and Martha needed more than physical healing is a clear picture of God's glory. And that is what love is. Jesus gives us not what we want, but what we need. And what all of us need is a picture of God. After staying for 2 days, Jesus finally gets up and tells his disciples that he must go to Judah now. But the last time Jesus was in Judah, the Jewish leaders were conspiring on how to stone him. So the disciples think that this is a suicide mission. They try to prevent him from going back to danger. And so knowing their fears about dying, Jesus says this proverb to them. "Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble, because he sees the light of this world. But if anyone walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him." What is Jesus talking about? We need to understand that both Romans and Jews divided their days into two 12-hour periods. Before electricity, people had to do all their work during the day, because once nighttime came, even if they wanted to, they could not continue to work. They will stumble or trip if they try to continue working. And so Jesus is using this proverb to say that in the same way that the daylight is fixed, so is your life. In other words, just like you can't do anything to lengthen or shorten the day, so also you can't do anything to lengthen or shorten your life. God has already determined the length of your life. And so there's really no reason to fear death according to Jesus. So Jesus tells his disciples that Lazarus is asleep. He makes it very clear that Lazarus is dead. So now is the time for him to see him. So Jesus is preparing his disciples for what he will do in a few days. They will see Jesus' humanity through his love for Lazarus when he sheds tears over his friend. But they will also see Jesus' divinity when he raises Lazarus back to life with his words. And this is what we will begin to see in the next video. If you found this video helpful, please like it and share it with a friend. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you will know when the next video is released as we continue through our journey through this seventh and final sign. Until next time, see you.